All right, hey everybody, welcome to my channel and to this video, which starts right now. We're going to be taking a look at this mouse sander. If you've never owned a mouse sander, I highly recommend it. Here is one from Black+Decker. I will put a link in the description below if you're interested, but this thing is an upgrade, definitely from an orbital sander or a belt sander, because those two tools cannot fit into corners. Check out the tip on this thing. It has a perfect point on the end, allowing you to get into really tight 90-degree corners, and it's removable, and you can insert this extra little piece here for extra reach. So we're going to put this baby to the test. I will show you kind of how it works and give you some tips, and also mention maybe some of the negatives if there are any. So this is what it comes with, some 120 and 240. Notice the cutouts there for that removable piece. You can actually operate that extra long extension with just one of those little triangular pieces or diamond shaped pieces. There we go. Now, the reviews, if you look online, if you check out that link, you'll see some of the reviews really concern some of them with this piece, the dust bin piece. So I'm going to actually be paying a lot of attention to that to see, is it indeed wiggly? Does it indeed slip off or come off? Because that was a big critique for this entry-level mouse sander. Entry to mid-level, I would call it. It does not seem cheap at all. I just weighed it there, or just kind of bounced it in my hand. It seems not unlike a sander should feel, meaning it's not particularly light or whatnot. Now here is the piece. I'm going to pop it on, and it does go on. Let me shake it there for you. Wiggle it. It does seem to go on tightly for the first time. This thing has not been used, obviously. Brand spanking new right out of the box. But I'm not noticing any wiggle or any abnormal jiggling, shaking. It seemed to slide on pretty well. Now let's put a piece of sandpaper on. It's kind of a Velcro adhesive. You are able to take it on and off multiple times, so no worries there. And you want to have those holes aligned, because that's where the vacuum feature kind of works. And this is our test sample today. I've got a mudroom bench that we're kind of sanding down, and I've already removed most of my stain, but you can see along the edges and the corners, I have a real hard time doing that with the orbital sander. So this is where the mouse sander comes in handy. You can hear the noise there. It is vibrating on the end. It does not rotate. It does not use a belt sander. It just kind of vibrates. So check this out. Here's the biggest advantage. You're going to want to apply light pressure, and you can also tip it forward or up, the back part up just a little bit to get a little extra dig in there, depending on how much sanding you need to do. So that's really nice. Look at that point. It kind of fits right in there. Now, unfortunately, some of the stain has seeped up into the caulking that I have there, so I'm not able to actually get that out because it's not flat anymore. It kind of curves upward, and the mouse sander can't angle in a curved fashion against that wall, but it can get all the way flush to the edge of the wall or before it starts to curve up without any issue. Here it is used for several, I would say about 5 minutes of me digging out all those edges. You can see kind of dusty. The vacuum feature works, but not, it doesn't get everything, right? Let's take out the vacuum feature. Notice I had to put down the camera there because it didn't slide off with one hand, so that's good news. I actually had to use 2 hands to remove it, telling me that that was tight and secure. And after about 5 minutes of use, you can see the vacuum feature absolutely sucks up and houses some of this stuff. So that's much appreciated. Now let's see if it goes back on. I fit it back on with one hand. Let me wiggle it a little bit. Okay, so no issues there with that. So I'm going to debunk that. I'm not sure if somebody got a bad one or not, but this one seems to be, working pretty well. So that is not an issue for me. Now, you can use this for non-corners, but I recommend an orbital sander. It's fine. It'll get the job done depending on your sandpaper and your grit that you use, but why not use an orbital sander for those large surface areas? Again, the big advantage of the mouse sander is getting into those corners and along the edges of the wall. And you'll need to replace the sandpaper every so often, right? The little diamond shape or the corner pieces will wear out faster because you're going to be using those more, right? Now, I should mention it takes a Phillips head screwdriver to, take this little piece off, and it secures really well. There's no wiggle or play or anything like that. You might need to replace that if you strip it, but I don't see any issues with that at all. It seems to be really well made. You don't want to put a lot of pressure on that. You don't want to cause it to bend or break or whatnot. Definitely make sure that sandpaper is secured. We're testing out that extension feature right now. Here it is. Notice I just put sandpaper on the diamond-shaped tip. I don't need it anywhere else because it does kind of sit down a little bit. It's not flush against the rest of the sand, the Velcro adhesive back, if that makes sense. In other words, you can just use the tip just like this in kind of an angled way. And look at that. That's really nice. I love this feature. And if you're doing like a screened-in porch or something, you know, this is going to work really well for getting loose paint off of the kind of the edges, the beveled edges of, if you have any beveled edges on anything really, this would be really nice. All right, there we go. Again, any black lines that you're seeing is the stain that's kind of seeped into the caulking at an angle, so I can't really get that. But overall, I'm really happy with this little mouse sander, and it's a nice repertoire, or nice tool to add to my repertoire. So hopefully this video has been helpful. Thanks.